Black people are mad at me because I said that people of color invented country music and not black people specifically. And you know what I have to say to that? I am sorry. I totally misspoke in that video. I misrepresented the creation and origins of country music as a whole, and I would like to genuinely apologize for the way that I phrased that. Now, I figured today could be a little history lesson for all of the non-black folks out there who did not know that country music was in fact created by black people. Country music...
Hey, shalom, shalom. This is Brother Rahawat of GMS Toronto coming back with another one. Now, this young man started off the video by apologizing to black people. That's all you can do when you're dealing with somebody who's black, someone who's uneducated, someone who doesn't know themselves, someone who doesn't know their history. That's all you can do is just apologize, because they are a perpetual victim. They're a perpetual victim of life. They're a perpetual victim of themselves. They're a perpetual victim of their upbringing. They're a perpetual victim of their history. Why? Because they don't know if they're coming or going. Okay? Because this young man tried to use the word colored because he understands something that you niggas didn't understand. And that's because he wanted you to know that you're not African. And then you attacked him because you want to be African so bad. You so-called black people, and the reason why I say so-called black people, because there is no such people on the planet Earth, and there has never been a people on the planet Earth known as black. There is no such people. You have people that are tribal. Human beings are tribal. We come from a lineage of our forefathers. Now, if you have a forefather and his name is black, you could be like, yes, those are the blacks, but they're not black people per se. Just like your last name might be Fraser, right? That's the line of Fraser, right? Because it goes back to the forefather, okay? But the Frasers might be a people who are of Israelite stock. The Frasers might be a people that go back to Ishmael, or they go back to Esau. You have to figure out where your lineage goes back to. And the majority of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, you are Israelites, unless you were your mother, right? Your foremother, your great-great-great-grandmother or whatever was impregnated by an Edomite. Then you might have a little bit of color on your body, thinking that you're a person of color, but your lineage could be an Edomite, just like this young man. He looks Caucasian. He looks like his lineage goes back to Edomite, who are you so-called white people. But guess what? He might be an Israelite when you check out his history. Why? Because our people ruled all throughout the world, mainly in Europe. We ruled Europe as well. And when we were in Europe, you know what we were doing with the Edomite women, with the Caucasian woman, with the white woman? Use your imagination. But believe me, we weren't playing cards and we weren't playing dominoes.
Originally was a form of storytelling. Now, a little bit of background here. Country music is fundamentally comprised of a few key components: string instruments, storytelling, and simply put, vibes. I don't know about you.
Exactly. Everything he mentioned, what he's letting you know that you Edomites, who really and truly don't have no history, and you have no vibes, and you weren't inventors as well, because you weren't an inventor. You Edomites are not inventors. Know that. Okay? And you definitely don't have any vibes. You still don't have what we call rhythm. Rhythm, right? Just like you have rhythm and blues. Rhythm is something that is innate, or that's in the people who go back to Israel, right? You Israelites, because I can't even say all Well, I can't say black people because you have black people all throughout the world, right? You have black people that are East Indian. You have black people who are Africans. Okay. You have black people who are Japhetic. So you have to know your lineage and your history and where you go back to before you can make any remarks.
When I think of the banjo, Appalachia, bluegrass, and country music all come to mind. Much like a lot of the instruments that we hear and use today, the banjo was brought to the U.S. by African slaves.
You see, he didn't even want to say it, right? Because he tried to use the word coloreds because he wanted you people to know that he doesn't want to give the credit to Africans, right? Because really and truly, it came from West Africa. And who was in West Africa? You Israelites, right? That's who was in West Africa. How did you get into West Africa? Well, some of us were already there, but the majority of us fled there during the time of 70 AD. Okay? And we never came over into the Americas by captivity or by slavery or by cargo slave ships. Yes, some of us did, right? Cargo slave ships did pick up some of us from West Africa, 100%. That's historical. But the majority of us were rich, so-called blacks, right? Rich, very, very wealthy. And we traveled over to the Americas ourselves, mainly for trade. And we found out that, this is a beautiful land. And a lot of us just set up our shop here, right? We set up homes. We set up businesses. Okay. We exported, imported, all of that. Right. We had those businesses going on, man. Right. Export, import business, man. Right.
Fashioned the banjo and a lot of other stringed instruments out of things like gold.
Let's get a scripture real quick. This is Jeremiah 10:16. And it says, the portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. Right? So you hear how special you people of Jacob are, right? And it goes all the way back to Jacob and Esau, where it says one people shall be stronger than the other people, right? Which is letting you know one people shall be better than the other person. You have bug outs. I just did a video just before this video. You have bug outs out there who are trying to make it seem like that's going into doctrine. But no, when it says one people shall be stronger than the other people, it's letting you know stronger mentally, stronger emotionally, stronger physically, right? And in every other way, spiritually as well, that you can think of. We are stronger than the rest of the world. We are the stars, right? Like it just says, the portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. Why? Because the Heavenly Father chose Israel to be a special people above all people. This is Matthew chapter 5, verse 13. It says, ye are the salt of the earth, right? So we are a very special people because what's life without salt? What's life without salt? You know what I mean? What is life without salt, man? Salt just adds that flavor. And just like that young man was saying in the video, he was mentioning the blues and he said the vibes. When he says vibes, what is he talking about? He's talking about that salt, right? When you have rhythm in blues, what's that rhythm? That rhythm is talking about that salt, something that we have, right? When you see everybody trying to do our dance or trying to catch our style, what are they trying to get? They're trying to get a little bit of that salt that we have, that flavor, right? In today's date, what do the young people say? They say, yo, I have that sauce, right? I'm saucy and I got that drip, right? It's just something about us, man. This is Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people, right? And this is one of the reasons why we are cursed. Why are we cursed? We're cursed because we're a holy people and we're acting like we're heathens. That's one of the worst things that we can do as a people. Being a holy people means that we're supposed to be separated. Separated from the things other people do, the things people wear, the things people eat, okay? The things people believe. We can't eat what they eat. We can't wear what they wear. We can't believe what they believe. We can't move how they move. We have to be separate. Okay? We have to be separate. Why? For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special. Let's get that word. Let's get the word special, because I think people don't know the meaning of words, right? This is the word special, as special, specific, particular, individual, mean of or relating to one thing or class. Special stresses having a quality, character, identity, or use of its own. Special ingredients. Okay? So we are special. Now let's get the word holy. This is the word holy. Adjective, holier, holiest, specifically. No, not specifically. Specially recognized or declared sacred by religious use or authority. Consecrated. Okay. Synonyms, blessed. Okay. Right. So that's who we are. We're a blessed people, man. Right. Look what it says. What is the true meaning of holy? Number 2, spiritually perfect or pure, untainted by evil or sin. Right. So that's what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be separated. We can't move the way people move. Okay. So the Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. Meaning what? Meaning that we're supposed to be priests. What's a priest? A priest is a servant. We're supposed to serve the Most High and do what he wants us to do, which is what? Keep his laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay? Keep certain holy days. Keep his Sabbath. Right? And there's not only one Sabbath, there's many Sabbaths. You have land Sabbaths. Okay? You have a Sabbath of the land where, the land is supposed to rest. Right? You're supposed to be able to use the land for 6 years. And on the 7th year, that land gets to rest for a whole year so it can replenish and rebuild all the nutrients and everything, so we can then go and extract from it again for the next 6 years. Okay? But these are things that only a chosen people would know. Okay? So it says, the Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Because guess what? Are there other nations out there? Are these other nations great? Have they done a lot of great things as well? Yes. But are they the chosen people? The answer is no. This is Isaiah 40:15. What does it say? It says, behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket and are counted as the small dust of the balance. When you have something on a scale, like when you're weighing a scale, right? You take everything off the scale. Do you take off a little dust particle? No, because the dust particle doesn't move the scale. That's the representation of all the nations. Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, he taketh up the isles as a very little thing. Why? Because they are not the apple of his eye. They are not the chosen people. That's only a representation of the Israelites. This is Zechariah chapter 2 and 8. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations, which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you touches the apple of his eye. So is there going to be a judgment and punishment for those nations touching God's chosen people? It just said it, right? Because it said the nations spoiled you. What did the nation spoil you with? With their ways, with their customs, right? With their gods, with their beliefs, with their foods. Everything that you Israelite think is good today is wrong. With their dress, certain things, you shouldn't be dressing like that. You shouldn't be moving like that. You shouldn't be thinking like that, because you're not moving and thinking like a servant of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, right? You're thinking and moving like a servant of Satan.
Black people are mad at me because I said that people of color invented country music and not black people specifically. And
hey, my friend, don't worry about black people. Black people are always mad, right? Because guess what? By you saying people of color, because they don't have a nationality, right? Because they don't have a history, they're going to be mad at something, right? So now these so-called black people are fighting to be black. That's the type of mental degradation that the so-called white man has our people in today, that our people are fighting for the nationality of black when they should be fighting for the nationality of Israelites, of God's chosen people, of a special people. What's special about being black? They think that there's something special about being black or being African American or being African. There is nothing special about that, right? The people that invented what he's talking about are the Israelites.
you know what I have to say to that? I am sorry. I totally misspoke in that video. I misrepresented the creation and origins of country music as a whole, and I would like to genuinely apologize for the way that I phrased that. Now, I figured today could be a little history lesson for all of the non-black folks out there who did not know that country music was in fact created by black people. Country music originally was a form of storytelling. Now, a little bit of background here. Country music is fundamentally comprised of a few key components: string instruments, storytelling, and simply put, vibes. I don't know about you, but when I think of the banjo, Appalachia, bluegrass, and country music all come to mind. Much like a lot of the instruments that we hear and use today, the banjo was brought to the U.S. by African slaves. They would fashion the banjo.
Yeah, and that's wrong as well, right? Now he's perpetuating the slave narrative, right? We were here in the Americas way before slavery. Okay, guess what? A lot of times, right? You Edomites, you were the slaves. We brought you here as our servants. That's how a lot of you got here as well, right? I'm talking about the ones that already came out of the caves, the ones of you that were already cleaned up, right? You had royals that were over there in America, that was over there in Europe, that came over to America, and they brought their slaves or their serfs or their servants, right? Because you so-called white people, you were serving black royalty, right? Over there in Europe, and they brought you over here. Right? You were the worker. You were the one pulling the, the what's it called? Like, all their property, right? They might have had horses or horse and carriage. You were the guy who was driving the carriage, right? Or you were riding the horse, and, you were a protector, you were a guard, or whatever it was, whatever it is that they had you doing, whatever job that they had you Edomites or you so-called white people doing at that time. So no, a lot of those things never came over here because of slavery. All those things were over here from before that, right? Because we were in power in America.
And a lot of other stringed instruments out of things like gourds, dried gourds, which is just absolutely fascinating to me. Anyhow, these stringed instruments would be used during the inception of what we know today as blues. And blues was the parent genre of so many styles of music that we hear on the radio today, including country, because of the heavy storytelling that was often found in blues music. Now, here's the important part. At the time of the inception of country music, Black people were not allowed to be in spaces where white entertainment took place. So it was very common for white people to put on blackface and perform this blues-esque music that was created by the African slaves. And get this, the music was so good, even when it was being used as a joke for entertainment, that it started to be taken seriously in mainstream media. So literally, Black people created a genre of music, white people stole that music, did it on stage in blackface for entertainment purposes, and the viewers of these racist depictions liked the music so much that it started to gain traction and became a popular music genre. And of course, the credit goes to not Black people. And over time, country music has been influenced by other POCs. Spanish music is another example of something that has influenced country music over time. But in my original video, when I said it was created...
Yeah, because they're Israelites as well, right? They're Israelites also, right? They're very dark-skinned as well. That's why we're saying who are the Israelites, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. You are God's chosen people, believe it or not. Believe it or not. You don't have to believe it, man. But this young man, he just brought out a lot of truth. A lot of truth. And I gotta tip my hat off to him, man. Right? I respect it. Right? I don't know if he's an Israelite. If he is, that's a beautiful thing. If he's not, well, he's going to go into captivity, even though he's bringing out truth. I'll see you in slavery, Esau. Right? But with that, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Makakwadash. Double honors unto the elders and elder apostles of GMS that rule well and that teach well. And to the brothers on the four corners of the earth doing this work in truth and in sincerity. Shalom. Till next time. Kwame Asharala.
I should have said Black people, so I'm sorry. I hope this video was insightful and that it taught you something. And I'm excited to see what Beyonce does with this country album. I think it's going to be